The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Saint Mark.
Glory to you, O Lord.
When Jesus returned to Capernaum after some days, it was reported that he was at home, and many were gathered together, so that there was no longer room for them, not even about the door. And he was preaching the word to them, and they came, bringing to him a paralytic carried by 4 men. And when they could not get near him because of the crowd, they removed the roof above him, and when they had made an opening, they let down the pallet on which the paralytic lay. And when Jesus saw their faith, he said to the paralytic, "My son, your sins are forgiven." Now some of the scribes were sitting there, questioning in their hearts, "Why does this man speak thus? It is blasphemy. Who can forgive sins but God alone?" And immediately Jesus, perceiving in his spirit that they thus questioned within themselves, said to them, "Why do you question thus in your hearts? Which is easier, to say to the paralytic, 'Your sins are forgiven,' or to say, 'Rise, take up your pallet and walk'? But that you may know that the Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins," he said to the paralytic, "I say to you, rise, take up your pallet and go home." And he rose and immediately took up the pallet and went out before them all, so that they were all amazed and glorified God, saying, "We never saw anything like this." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
My dear sisters, you know how God chose Moses and after him Joshua to lead and guide the people of Israel. After their time there were so many judges, including Samuel. And then now the people of Israel look at their neighbors who had kings and request Samuel to make kings for them as the neighboring countries had. Samuel speaks of the difficulties that they will have to undergo. That's what we listen to in today's first reading. The king, instead of serving you, will ask you to serve him. You will all become almost slaves to him. Reconsider. God is your king. I am really displeased that you are asking a king. All that Samuel says. But then the people are adamant. Finally God says, grant the people what they desire. They are not against you, but they are against me. And finally they get the king. First king is Saul, and then he himself displeased the Lord. There was David, okay, a man after God's heart. And there were other kings who really did not do what the Lord wanted. And then here the Lord tells them, you will be crying. I will not listen to you because it is your choice. That's why we often pray, my dear sisters, thy will be done. Grant us according to your will. Sometimes we do not know what is best for us. The Lord knows. Let us place before the Lord our petitions. Lord, if it is your will, that should be our prayer. That is the first lesson that we get from today's first reading. And the second reading, the miracle of healing the paralytic, we have listened to again and again. The first thing is the faith of the 4 men who carried the paralytic to Jesus. We do not know whether the paralytic had faith or not. But these 4 men had faith. And the Gospel says, seeing the faith of these 4 men, Jesus healed him. So our faith is contagious. When we live in the community, we have to sustain each other by our faith. Even in our own families, in the family of the congregation, looking at our faith, maybe the congregation will be helped. Our family will be helped. Look at the perseverance of these men. They did not lose heart. They were daring to open the roof. That's one thing. And Jesus, he was not interrupted. He did not show his irritation. Rather, he appreciated the faith. People in need may disturb us, but we should consider an opportunity to serve. Let us not say, you are disturbing me, my schedule, my clock. No. And then Jesus not only forgives sins, but also Jesus gives healing to him. Sometimes, even in our own life, we say, I have forgiven her, but I will not do any good to her. Material good, other assistance. No. Forgiveness must be accompanied by doing good. And finally, the people are amazed and glorifying God. The Lord does so many marvels in our lives. Let us glorify Him. Through the grace of this Eucharist, we may submit to His will and strengthen one another by our faith and do good to one another and glorify God through our life. Amen.